It's the weekend and you have financial questions that need answering. That can only mean one thing. It's time for Jill on Money, the show that takes the mystery out of your finances. Here's your host, Jill Schlesinger.
Welcome. It's Jill on Money, the program where we take the mystery out of your financial life. I'm Jill Schlesinger, CBS News business analyst, and we are broadcasting live from the Capital One studios. If you've got a financial question, we'd love to hear from you. The way you get in touch with us is just send us an email. Ask Jill at jillonmoney.com. And if we like you and if Mark pesters you enough, we might even put you on the air. Mark, do you ever think about that you could be you're the gatekeeper, that you're the one, if you don't like the person, you don't actually put them on the air? Do you ever do that? A little bit. So kiss up to Mark. He is the best producer in the world. He's the best executive producer in the world, as a matter of fact. So we love to start the program with a call. We've got Kimberly on the line from Atlanta. Hello, Kimberly. How are you?
Good morning, Jill. Thank you so much for taking my call.
Of course. What can I do for you?
Okay, so my husband and I are in our early 40s. We don't have any children. We've just moved to a new city, and we're kind of looking at our financial picture and noticed that we've got quite a bit of savings, and half of our savings is in the form of the market, either in a retirement account or a personal investing account, and half of our savings is in a traditional savings account, garnering a pretty low return. And we kind of wanted your advice on what should we do with that bucket of money that is sitting in our savings account. Should we put it in the market? Should we diversify a little bit more? Kind of what do you think our best option would be for that?
Okay, great. So let's talk about a few different things. So no kids. You're both working?
I am not working now that we've moved to Atlanta, but I did do real estate investing, and I'll probably pick that up once we get a little bit more settled here. And
did you move to Atlanta for some specific reason?
Yes, my husband's work.
Uh-huh. All right. And how's that move gone for you so far? You feel all right?
It's been great so far. Yeah.
Awesome.
We're just not getting settled in our house, and it's been pretty good.
Okay, great. So tell us a little bit about what's going on. So how much money is in retirement accounts?
So it's about half of our savings, which is about $700,000, is in either our retirement account or our personal TD Ameritrade account.
And the TD Ameritrade account is not a retirement account. It's just a general investment account?
Exactly.
Okay.
And what I did is I tried to pick a few mutual funds and a few ETFs. So we have about $150,000 in our TD Ameritrade account. Mm-hmm. And then we have about $650,000 split between our two 401k.
Okay,
accounts.
That's great. Fantastic. And so there's that TD Ameritrade. You do that all on your own. You feel good about what you're doing, or you feeling how? Just tell me how you feel, whether you're like in control or it's gotten beyond you. How do you feel about it?
Well, up until this point, we've never used a financial planner. I tried to use your advice when we went to the TD Ameritrade account and tried to pick some, mutual funds and ETFs that had low management fees, that had good Morningstar ratings. And so I feel like that small bucket of money is invested as best as I know how. Mm-hmm. And then we were just going to allow that money just to sit there and continue to grow, hopefully. Mm-hmm. But with the bucket of money that we have in our savings, which is quite a big chunk of money, I don't feel comfortable putting that into TD Ameritrade and doing it on my own.
Okay, I gotcha. And how much money is in that savings right now?
$700,000.
All right, you guys are awesome, and you don't need it for anything coming up anytime soon. This would essentially be your supplemental retirement, let's call it, just extra money, right?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. So, are there other complicating factors of your financial life, or are we simply talking about asset management? Are there, do you have to take care of parents or siblings, and do you feel comfortable with the house you bought or anything else? Because this could be an incredibly easy answer. So I just want to make sure there's nothing else we're missing.
No, it's just when you're used to having a cushion like that in your account, it's very scary taking that money out and investing it. And so we just want to make sure that we're making a smart decision on what to do with that pool of money.
And it's and make no mistake, the day after you start investing, the stock market will go down. Like,
and
you
that's
know
our
that.
Fear,
it's gonna happen.
In the market.
Of course it's gonna happen. So there's a couple of ways to think about this. One is, I don't want to put $700,000 to work and then watch the market slide for a good year. I don't want to be you would be like, oh, I'm the one who came in at the very worst time. Okay, so if you don't want that, you could do some dollar cost averaging. You could put some fixed amount at work, maybe on a monthly basis. And that might be, you might say to yourself, gosh, we'd really like to get this invested over the next 18 months or the next year, whatever it is, whatever interval feels good. And you might say you put $50,000 a month until you get there. Or you might say, I want to do it faster, $100,000 a month. But that's a way to kind of cushion the blow in case something wacky happens. Now, that said, of course, if the market starts rising and going up, you are, putting money in at higher levels. But, who cares? It's long-term money anyway. Now, getting to your bigger point about this is asset management, I think you guys are made for robo-advisors. And here's why. I don't think it sounds like you have a complicated financial life. So you're not necessarily in need of a certified financial planner or a CPA who does financial planning, because doesn't sound like there's a lot of issues here. This is straight up money management, meaning that you can actually go through a process with Betterment, with Wealthfront, with Vanguard Personal Service Advisor, with Schwab Intelligent Portfolio, that these are companies that have essentially a online platform for money management. And, by the way, because you're going to invest a lot of money, you'll get some personal service as well. You'll get access to a CFP if you want to. But what I think would be interesting is for you to start poking around with some of these companies to see which platforms you like. And this is really going to be, I don't think that TD Ameritrade has one right now. They may, but I don't know if they do. But again, the big names in the robo industry are Betterment, Wealthfront, Vanguard Personal Service Advisor, and Schwab Intelligent Portfolio. All of these companies have some minimums. You're well beyond the minimum. I would check those out. I think that's all you need. And it's going to cost you a quarter, maybe 0.3% a year to have your money managed with an algorithm that is essentially going to do just as well as any CFP's algorithm. The reason that you would go seek personalized service from an advisor is if you had many more issues beyond money management. I don't think that's where you are, Kimberly. I think you guys would be really well served. This is exactly a perfect case for it. So good luck. Let us know how it goes. You're listening to Jill on Money. If you've got a financial question, shoot us a note. Ask Jill at jillonmoney.com. And don't forget to go onto the website, because there you can buy the book, The Dumb Things Smart People Do With Their Money, 13 Ways to Right Your Financial Wrongs. We'll be right back.
Do I invest here? Should I put my money there? Jill Schlesinger can help you. Back to Jill on Money.
You're back. It's Jill on Money. If you have a financial question, we would love to hear from you. Our email address is askjill@jillonmoney.com. That's what Mary did. She's calling from the Bay Area. Hi, Mary. Welcome to the program. What can we do for you?
Hi, Jill. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
I actually wanted to get some advice on my parents and their retirement.
Okay.
I'm trying to navigate them through their retirement. My parents didn't do a very good job preparing for their retirement. In the case of not really talking about finances. So now we're in a place where Mom is retired. She's 68. She's been retired for about 13 years now. And Dad is 71. and kind of still working. We're in a place where he finally needs to retire by his choice, but more so just feeling his age.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
trying to work him through that. So at the moment, Mom is getting her Social Security. So she gets her Social Security and a very small pension from when she was a school teacher.
Okay.
And then my dad, since he is 71, at 70 and a half, he did take into his Social Security as well. So we're getting that as well. The concern that my dad has is, are they able to live off of their Social Security and pension and the little bit of savings that they've had? And my dad does have a 401k, so there is money in that. But the kicker is they still have a little bit of a mortgage.
Hold on. Let me go back. Let me just go back one
Yeah,
second here
please.
for a second. So, because I'm having a little bit of a hard time hearing you. I don't know if
Sure.
I'm on speaker, but I just want to make sure I got this. Mom's
Absolutely.
retired. She's been retired for 13 years. She has a Social Security and pension. How much monthly income total?
Absolutely. For the Social Security, it's $996.
Yep.
And her pension is $990.
Okay, so $996 and $990. Your dad is still working, but is starting to receive Social Security as well. How much is that?
Yes, $2,700.
Okay, and he's gonna wind down the work, right?
Yes, it's more so probably in the immediate month or two.
Oh, okay. So it's really happening, right? Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Very good. All right. So let's just call it, your mom's got about $2,000 a month. Dad's has $2,700. Can they live on that $4,700 a month right now?
Personally, yes, absolutely. My dad doesn't seem to think so, and I think his worry may be coming from that. My mom, especially, but they've accrued $75,000 in credit card debt.
What?
We're trying to figure out.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. Okay. So there's
Yeah.
$75,000 in credit card debt.
Yeah.
All right. There's this income. They have a home, right?
Yes, I do.
How much is the house worth?
Absolutely. So the value of the home is $266.
Yep.
And they have about $42K in equity, and the leftover mortgage is $74 still.
Wait a minute. What? The mortgage is $74. How do they only have $42,000? Oh, you mean a home equity loan?
Well, no, they've refinanced a couple of times.
Okay, what's
So
the
that's-
total
yeah.
outstanding debt on that house? That's what I want to
Sure.
know.
$74,000.
That's it. So it's worth $266. They got $74 in debt against it, right?
Yes, perfect.
Cool. Got it. They want to stay in this house?
Yes, they do. That's their long-term goal.
Okay. And Dad is still working, but not for too long, right? We don't have a lot of time left.
Right. Exactly.
Okay. That credit card debt, is that scary amounts of, in terms of the interest on it? Is it super scary,
Yeah.
weird? Yeah.
It's about 20 to 22%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's what I think they're going to have to do. And I think this is like an emergency. We're going to do this fast because I want to do this while Dad is still working. I think they're going to have to refinance their house again. Don't go crazy. It's probably the only way that they're going to really be able to afford this. What they're going to do is they're going to get a $150,000 mortgage against their $266,000 house. They're going to get a 30-year mortgage. I know they're going to hate this, but they're going to have to do this. And then you're going to take that out of that 150. And it's, by the way, mortgage rates are at 3-year lows right now. And we want to do it while Dad's still working because he's going to show lots of income. And in fact, when I get off the phone with you, Mark's going to give you the name of a guy who might be able to help you with this. Okay. So basically you want them to refinance. They will end up with a $150,000 mortgage. They're going to pay off her credit card debt, and we're never giving her a credit card again.
Right.
I mean, I love her, but she's done. We're putting her on austerity. The reason why we want a 30-year fixed rate loan is that on the $4,700 a month, I want them to be able to live a life.
Yes, right.
Okay. So you refi, pay off the credit card debt. Then you've got this moment where you say to them, you have your come to Jesus moment, and you say, how are you going to make sure this never happens again?
Right.
I'm sorry this is falling on you. It's hard.
No, we've had this conversation. I've taken an immediate step forward and kind of putting myself in there because I know it's very concerning for me. been very emotionally taxing for the whole family, but I'm just kind of wanting to take care of it. The only kicker that I have with the refinancing part is I've looked into their credit scores because of the credit card debt, and it's not in the best place to be refinanced.
Give me what's the scores? What do they look like?
Roughly about one's 550, the other's 590.
550 and 590. How's that possible? Because they're doing late payments? Well, I still think it's going to be cheaper. Even if you get a crappy rate, okay?
Okay.
It's still going to be cheaper because let's say instead of getting, I'm going to make this up, instead of a 3.8% loan, they're going to have to get a 4.8% loan. That's still going to be better than 20% on the credit card debt.
Right.
You know what I mean? I still think it's going to be better. And then they've got some retirement assets as well. Give me that rundown.
Retirement assets?
Yeah.
So they have 39 in liquid savings, and the 401k has 471 in it.
Okay.
There are no bonds or any other sort of retirement savings account yet.
Okay. So when Dad retires, there's going to be a moment where, you have to figure out what to do with this money. You can roll it over into an IRA rollover account. I would suggest that you make it really easy for them. You say, okay, you know what we're going to do? We're going to roll this over. And, I mean, you could work with a financial advisor. It's just you're going to get hosed on a fee. So do you have any investments at like a place where you feel comfortable, like a Vanguard or a Schwab or anything like that? You yourself?
Right. Well, I'm personally with Fidelity, but I've looked into a lot of them, and I listened to your show a lot, and I'm interested in possibly the Vanguard for them. Yeah.
I think the Vanguard, what you could do is you could do the Vanguard Personal Service Advisor. There's like a minimum of like $50,000. They'll get access to a CFP on the phone. You should be on these accounts as like an authorized person to get a statement. You've got to keep an eye on this. I don't trust your mom not to like pull money out of this. I love her. I love her. She's a great mom, but you need to be part of this because my fear is unless they do the refi and unless you make sure that you're keeping an eye on these retirement accounts, that they're going to blow through this money. And, they have good income. $5,700 a month is good. Or $4,700 a month is really good. And if we get rid of the credit card debt, even with a crappy credit rating, the ability for them to keep pace with their debt is really contingent on us getting rid of that credit card debt. So I think it's a refi, a 30-year fixed. They're going to freak out about it. Tell them not to worry. And make sure that you become a person who can receive statements for their Vanguard accounts so you can help them out and work through this with them. If they need help and if you need more help, we will absolutely be happy to chat with them. I can put them on the line. They can change their names. They can change the story. I think this is what we have to do. Mark's going to give you the name of somebody who might be able to help you out with a refi. And if there's anything else that's going on that we can help out with, I would be happy to do so. Everyone else listening, take this advice from Mary. She's 38 years old, and she's taking care of her parents. Everyone needs to be having these conversations with their families because otherwise it ends up being your problem anyway. It's Jill on Money. If you've got a financial question, ask Jill at jillonmoney.com. We will be right back.
Follow Jill on Twitter and Instagram for more personal finance content. Just use the handle @JillOnMoney. Now, back to the show.
You're back. It's Jill on Money. We are the program that takes the mystery out of your financial life. We can only do that if you let us know what those mysteries are in your financial life. So send us an email. Ask Jill at jillonmoney.com or go to the website, jillonmoney.com, and contact us button pops right up. It's on the top right side. Let us know how we can help you out. That is why we are here. And we is me and Mark. We are delighted to be with you. Okay. Tom writes, subject, what to do with future inherited property? Hi, Jill. I'm hoping you can help us plan for the future with a tough what-if situation. Many years ago, my father bought a small strip mall in Florida. It was last assessed at about $2 million 10 years ago. Before he died, my father transferred the ownership. Oh, wait a second. Before my father died, ownership of the mall was transferred to an LLC, officially owned by a trust. An LLC owned by a trust. Okay, I'm thinking through. My mother still benefits from the rental fees, which total around $100,000 a year after taxes. I want my 85-year-old mother to live forever, but I'd still like to discuss with my siblings what we should do with the property after she passes away. My 3 siblings all have 2 or 3 children, while my wife and I are childless. 2 of my 3 siblings are wildly successful, like multiple luxury homes successful. My younger sister and I are comfortable but not well off. My wife and I currently have total assets and savings of around $800,000. We're both in our early 50s. Our current financial plan has us retiring in 10 years optimistically. Note, this plan makes no assumptions whatsoever about my potential inheritance. My siblings, including my younger sister, have expressed interest in holding on to the property after my mother is gone and splitting the rent money between us. But I'm wondering if my and my wife's needs would be better served if we sold the property and split the proceeds. I can't help but think that my siblings want to hold on to something which could benefit their children in the future, but how does that help selfish, childless me? I love this guy. All right. Well, here's the thing. I think there's a lot of ways to skin this cat. One idea would be they want to hold on to it, let them buy you out. How about if you get an assessed valuation of the property at death, and then you could essentially get the best of both worlds. They can hold on to it. They got all that money, and they can buy you out. And maybe that's the same thing with your younger sister. That, instead of getting $25,000 a year after taxes, which, by the way, is a good chunk of money, maybe that would be a better way for you guys to manage it. I think that's what I would do. I would and I don't know if you have the conversation now or you wait, but I think that you may want to kind of put your hand up in the air and say, hey, let's talk about this, because I'm not so sure that I would want to hold on to that property. I totally get that you want to hold on to that property. But when it really comes down to it, it would be better if you guys would buy us out. That might be good. I like that one. Okay. Thomas writes, I've read and heard that multiple states have reduced unemployment benefits, length of time one is eligible for benefits, or both. How are all these numbers impacted by people dropping off the end of their unemployment benefits and remain out of work? Well, if they come off of the unemployment benefits and they remain out of work and they are seeking work, they will be counted as part of the labor pool and included in the number of unemployed. But I don't think that the fact that you have unemployment benefits, if you're receiving unemployment, doesn't mean that you're not counted for the jobs report information. You still, as long as you're actively looking for work, you would be part of the labor force and then included in the calculations for the unemployment rate. And even if you come off of unemployment benefits, you'd still be unemployed. Okay, second thing. I'm reading Firefighting, The Financial Crisis and Its Lessons by Bernanke, Geithner, and Paulson. Is it a much different read than All the Devils Are Here or The Big It is a much different read than All the Devils Are Here or The Big Short. No kidding, because it's like self-serving. By the way, I love when they say they're firefighters, because they freaking helped the fire ignite. You may be more like, especially when it comes to Tim Geithner, who really, it's just embarrassing that he's written this book, frankly. He's like the arsonist fireman. Let me help create conditions that allow the fire to actually start, and then pat myself on the back for being the firefighter who put it out. How nice and self-serving that all is. Okay, I remember back in 2015 and 2016 that that Vice President Biden said the economy was poised to explode up. The entire global economy is set to boom. The book mentions that continual growth out of the Great Recession over the last 10 years. To the extent that any president deserves credit for the economy, isn't Trump standing on Obama's shoulders right now? Yeah-ish. But here's the thing. That's what I would say about all of this. Presidents get too much credit when the economy is good and too much blame when the economy is bad. That's what I would say. So do I think that the Obama, I would say the end of the Bush administration and the Obama administration did a good job in making sure we didn't have a cataclysmic financial crisis that led to a Great Depression instead of a Great Recession? Yeah. But everyone's got a little bit of blame to take on this, including the Obama administration people who really let regular people suffer and really made sure that the banks were okay, but real people weren't. And you can blame all those folks in the Tea Party who were freaking out and saying, like, let all these people suffer. And from there, I will just say that we all get a little bit of blame. Everyone took part in this. I really can't stand those books that are like that pat yourself on the back. I don't think it really is actually helpful. And I guess more to the point, I don't think it's all true. That's all. Okay. You're listening to Jill on Money. Feel free to send us your thoughts on any topic. Tell us what good books you're reading and tell us what resources we should add to our resource list. It's Jill on Money and the email address, askjill@jillonmoney.com. We'll be right back.
Back to Jill on Money, where Jill Schlesinger helps you take the mystery out of your finances.
You're back. It's Jill on Money. If you have any sort of money question, I know it's August. Just relax. I still want to hear from you. Give us a holler. Ask Jill at jillonmoney.com. You know what? Back to school just around the corner. And then you're going to get sucked into all your kids' activities, your grandkids' activities. Get the questions to us now. And then we can really start cranking on your fall. If you'd like to get in touch with us, you can just send an email, ask Jill at jillonmoney.com. You can go to the website, jillonmoney.com, and there is a contact button on the top right corner of the website. So do that. That is exactly what Richard did. He contacted us from the website. And he says, Jill, I've watched you speak about the student parent loan debt so many times, but you and everyone else I've thus far listened to has omitted what I believe is an insidious financial construct that is inherent in the loan interest paid first. You know what? I'm not sure I haven't mentioned that. It is one of the reasons why student loans are so horrible. So, Richard, you're absolutely right. I'm going to take that under advisement. I'm going to start making sure people remember this. Unlike an amortized loan, Richard writes, where you send your money and some portion goes to interest and still some portion goes to principal, that doesn't happen with student loans. And Richard writes, this results in many folks with larger loan balances and hardly ever reducing the principal balance. That's why I believe you can find many student loan debtors who know they will never pay off the loan. Many of those loans carry 6 to 7% interest. Can you address this setup that seems like a cash cow for the U.S. government loan programs? Keep on this. A simple fiscal accounting change could give borrowers hope of someday repaying the debt and not finding death as the final solution. I think it's a great point. You know, I really believe that if we can restructure the student lending business, it would be so much better if we could, again, not just like giving us the way to pay it off, but also having a set end date. And maybe we tell kids this up front. Remember when we had, we've had different people on the show. We've had Kelly Peeler, her company Next Gen Vest is now part of Common Bond. And, they tell me these stories about how there's just no uniform way that awards are given out. People don't understand the payoffs. I mean, all this So confusing. So let's stay on the college debt topic. Carmelina writes, everyone seems to be talking about how bad it is that kids have college debt, but I haven't heard anyone discussing why the interest rates are so high compared to the low rates on all other loans. I'll tell you why. Because those federal loans are not underwritten. So there's big risk. So, yes, it's a problem, but the problem really is that we have a crisis that college costs are increasing. We have a crisis that the loan system is screwy. And I don't blame you. It's annoying. So I just want to keep going with this. As parents, we paid the equivalent of a state college cost for our son's college education. After scholarships, he still had about $23,000 to repay, which he did in less than 8 years. So great for the son. Daughter, they covered her undergrad, and she paid for her master's. She graduated with about $35,000 in debt. We encourage both of our kids to live at home as long as possible to maximize their income from their new jobs in their fields of study. A daughter paid extra on her loans to the point where she was unable to claim on her taxes all the interest paid. Nice way of rewarding someone for being responsible. I know, it's so true. As long as student loan people are taking in billions in debt, they're going to encourage students to amass the staggering debt. I'd like to see more airtime given to the reason why the rates are so high for student loans. By the way, for next year, the rates are down for federal loans. But that's also why the private market has cheaper interest rates, because they actually have underwriting. So I would just point that out as well. Here's some more from someone who writes, we're preparing to send our son to college this fall, and to cover the balance of his tuition, we need to take out a Parent Plus loan. Can you tell me the best place to look to obtain a parent loan? Mark, can we tell them please don't do this? I really want to know. Before you take out that loan, stop. Can we talk? You can get Parent Plus loans through the federal government. So that's fine. The problem is that in most cases, that in doing so, you're going to get this higher interest rate, just what the previous writer, previous listener just said. But also, are you really in a position to take on this debt? That's what I want to know. Daniel says, in discussions of student loans co-signed by parents, what we see is, cases of parents suddenly on the hook for the balance of their child's student loans can be heart-wrenching. The student might have been diligent about paying off the loan, but having the balance suddenly on the shoulders of the parents can derail good retirement plans. Yes. Okay? So there we have it. There's a problem, ladies and gentlemen. We have, I think that people are simply not willing to actually deal with this. It's a shame. It really is. How much time do I got? Under one. I can't do this. When we come back, I'm going to read a question from Ryan, and we'll figure out about more student loans. This is a little student loan segment. When we come back, we're going to talk about 529 accounts for adult students. A lot of people going back to school. Is it worth using those 529 plans? That's what Ryan wants to know. We'll discuss it when we return. This is Jill on Money. Go to our website, jillonmoney.com, and there you can sign up for our free weekly newsletter. It comes out on Friday. Mark curates all this amazing content. It's great. All right, check it out. Free newsletter, jillonmoney.com. We'll be right back. You're back. It's Jill on Money, and we're going to just close out the first hour of the program with an email. We are broadcasting live from the Capital One Bank studios here in New York, and we just spent the last segment talking a little bit about student loans. Here's a really interesting question from Ryan, who's 28, and his wife also 28, and they're both looking at attending school for a master's degree. And he says, what's the most efficient way to do this? And so they both contribute $19,000 a year. They're 28, guys. They both contribute $19,000 a year to their 401k. They've got their emergency reserve fund for a 6-month runway, and they have a taxable investment account. Question, what is the best way to pay for school? Should I pull from the taxable investments and put it into a 529 account, or is there another method I'm missing? Our time horizon is 6 months until the master's program begins, and it should be a 2 to 3 year program. So I think this is a great question. I think I would probably look to the taxable investment account. And what I would try to do is this. I think if you know that this is going to start in 6 months, I would very methodically say, okay, when is my first bill due? How much am I going to need? And you're going to free up the money that you need. Now, you can just, I don't know how much you have in that account. Can it cover all of your costs? But for all intents and purposes, I would gut that account, pay the tax that's due, put it in a 529. But then remember, the 529 account, you cannot invest aggressively. You have a 3-year time horizon. I would be telling you to put your first year in a safe money market account inside of that taxable investment account anyway. So I think it's a great idea because, of course, any of the interest that you earn for the money in the plan, not taxable. So it's a good do. That's what I would do, Ryan. And I think the 529 plan that you choose, I don't know what state you live in, but, you might have some state income tax benefit. That could be good. But I like the plan. Love it. Okay, when we return, we are going to handle most of your questions. And I say most because some of you are going to notice we don't get back lickety-split. It's because Jill on Money is on taking a little break during August. So we may not be getting those emails dealt with immediately. Do not worry. We'll get to them, I promise. It's askjill@jillonmoney.com. We'll be right back.
It's the weekend, and that can only mean one thing. You're listening to Jill on Money, the show that takes the mystery out of your finances. Here's your host, Jill Schlesinger.
Welcome back. It's hour number 2 of the Jill on Money program, where we are broadcasting live from the Policy Genius studios. Policy Genius is the easy way to compare and buy insurance. Just go to policygenius.com. All right, August dog days, we are digging out of the email. So what happens is I go on vacation or I travel for the book and do something, and then the emails start to pile up. And Mark said it is time to essentially dig out. So here we are, starting with Anne. And by the way, if you do have a question, we would love to hear from you. It's just that I'm not responding as quickly as usual because it's the summer. Ask Jill at jillonmoney.com. Anne asks, we will be retiring in about 2 years. We're going to have a large influx of cash. I would like to put the money in a trust. I'm not sure what to do with the money that I do put in the trust. We will use what we need from that trust to live on, leave the remainder to our kids. Where can I put that money that will earn a reasonable rate and still be conservative? Most of our money is in CDs and savings accounts. Well, first things first, you're going to talk to an attorney, right? It's going to be a revocable trust, meaning a trust that is for people who are still living so that you can then draw money out of the trust. In terms of an allocation, Anne, I don't know how large it is because large to one person may not be as large to another. For example, Mark, what would be a large influx of cash for you in an investment account? Maybe like presuming that you had actually sold your Bitcoin when I told you to sell it. Okay, so Mark says $100,000 would be a large influx of cash. For me, I don't know, it'd be more than that. So, depending on what we're talking about, maybe you want to talk to a professional who can help you out. I mean, let's do something fun. Let's pretend, Anne, that you had $1 million that was coming in, and you really didn't need much of the money, and you just wanted to, be really conservative. You could keep it in CDs and high-yield money market accounts. You could do that. You can go to depositaccounts.com and see what the best rates are. Or you may choose a very conservative portfolio where you say maybe 20% is in stocks, and then we build out the rest of it with some bonds and bond ladders. But I mean, I really need some more details. But, if you don't need to use the money, one of the things that you might have available to you is to essentially kind of say, I don't have to take risk. So I need more information, but I think that it's very interesting, and you can do it, certainly. I just think it's really important that you are clear-eyed about how much money you need from that portfolio, and you get help if you do need help. So send us some more details. We can help you out. Okay, so here we have a question. I don't know who this is from. Nisi, who says, I'm 63. I own and operate a small business. I thought I was making a good decision by purchasing property because I thought I could call it my retirement. However, when considering selling it, the tax bill will kill my retirement money. What type of person would I speak to about this? Look, probably a financial advisor, a certified financial planner, or maybe a fee-only financial planner would be helpful. Mark, let's send her the resource, the questions to ask the financial professional so that she knows that this is how she's going to move it forward. But yeah, get some help on that. Jane is a retired teacher in Virginia. She retired, 10 years ago. Her husband, also a teacher, now retired. Jane says, I've got $20,000 left on a parent student loan, interest rate 5%. I pay about $267 a month. That fits in my budget. However, I am tired for paying it. My daughter's loan is $30,000. I pay that also. Since her income is low, I've got $180,000 in a deferred compensation plan. What should I do? You don't say how old you are. I don't really think you should take money out of your retirement account to pay this off. Can you pay a little bit more off on this $20,000? It is a 5% loan. I think that, pulling money out of the deferred comp is not a great idea because, as you note, you are going to pay taxes. Is there any other money available? I want to know. Jane, send me a little bit more information and we can help you out. Maybe. Parents, my God. All right. Valerie. This is awesome. Valerie saw me on CBS this morning talking about the FIRE movement, financial independence, retire early. She says, your advice is spot on. I am 67. I'm a living example of how it pays off to be financially conservative from a young age. I always contributed the limit of my 401k and IRA. I bought savings bonds with each raise. I bought houses that cost less than I could afford. I paid cash for new cars. I ordered conservatively in restaurants. I do all that except for the last part. I don't think conservatively in a restaurant. Anyway, Valerie says, I self-direct my brokerage account. I look at market drops as buying opportunities. At 55, my financial planner's suggestion was for me to start spending at a higher level. He said my financial problem would be a higher tax rate due to the required minimum distribution at 70. I was easily able to retire at 55. I decided I was not mentally ready to do so. So you know what I did? I found a more enjoyable job. I happily worked for another 9 years. My biggest financial issue today is managing the amount I should convert from an IRA to a Roth to avoid triggering higher Medicare premiums. I am so glad you are promoting this strategy. It has worked so beautifully for me. Yes. Yes. And they didn't call it FIRE then. They just called it being prudent. So good. Bill writes, I hear that people talk about the importance of savings. We get all the reasons why it's important, how to structure a roadmap. What you never do is give advice as to what is needed to be done beyond hiring a financial advisor. Are you kidding me? This is baloney. Of course, I give so much. Just send him a link to the website. Come on. This is ridiculous. I hate when people write stuff like that. Don't even write him back. That's annoying to me. I spent the last 10 years telling people exactly what to do and how they should get money. You could just, why don't you pepper him? Why don't you send him like 100 links from the website? That'd be so great. Here's some little light reading for you, mister. Okay, Robert writes, I'm a new listener. Under the Trump administration, are his financial tactics for America a positive or a negative? Ooh, that's a loaded question. Kind of remains to be seen. Depends also, like every position has a winner and a loser. Overall, that tax cut really was great for companies, not quite as good for individuals. All right. Okay. When we return, more of your fantastic email questions. If you would like to see some of the stuff that I've written, recorded, TV, radio, all that, resources, just go to the website, JillOnMoney.com. We'll be right back.
Back to Jill on Money, where Jill Schlesinger helps you take the mystery out of your finances.
You're back. It's Jill on Money, and we are rocking through some emails, and we're going to do that in August. So those of you who did send us an email at askjill@jillonmoney.com, we are trying to plow through. It is August, and we are still catching up on June. I'll admit it. So let's just go for it. Shanti writes, I would like to know which index is the best one in which to invest. I'm 59 years old. I know the market is high. I'm not invested very much. I don't plan to invest very much until a pullback. Give me some advice. Well, I don't know. Shanti, if you like market indexes, just depends where you're doing your investing. Obviously the S&P 500 is the kind of the standard bearer for U.S. stocks. But, potentially, you could go into an extended stock market index. That's another idea for you. Who has that? Vanguard has that. A lot of them do. But maybe if you're just starting a bond index and a stock index, and try that. Okay, Heather writing. Here's another one after the fire segment. I saw your fire story on CBS this morning today. I was happy to see that you covered it. Thank you. I was surprised that a discussion on the cost of healthcare did not come up. Yeah, you know what? You're right. It is very difficult. My husband and I have reached our early retirement goal. I'm 48, he's 40. We'd love to make a career change to nonprofit work, but we can't figure out how to get affordable healthcare that will protect us as we grow older. Interesting. This one piece is keeping us from leaving our jobs, which do provide healthcare. I would be curious to know how the couple you interviewed will manage healthcare, especially with a small child. Yeah. Well, a lot of them are just getting it through the marketplace, through the Affordable Care Act. Other people that I know in the fire movement are getting healthcare or through associations, and they're paying for it. They're just factoring it in to the whole analysis. So that's something to keep in mind when you're playing with the numbers. Also, though, I must say that one thing that is interesting is that if you are going to work for a nonprofit, I have found in my sort of long history in dealing with nonprofits, they usually have very good health care and very good benefits, but not high pay. So keep in touch with me. I'm wondering, I'd be interested to talk to them, right, Mark? Because we want to know a little bit more about this. Here's another one from Laura, 41-year-old woman who's been steadily saving for 20 years and says, I inadvertently find myself in this semi-retirement situation. I didn't set out to retire early, but let's see. Oh, my gosh. I was a whistleblower and fired from my previous job earlier in the year. I thought a new job would have been easy to find, but it has eluded me. I don't know if I've been blackballed. That stinks. Regardless, she writes, due to my extensive savings, I am in a position to take my time and pursue other avenues. Many of my colleagues were scared. The reason I'm emailing you is not because my situation is unique, because Gail said something about only Wall Street and financial people get to save enough money to retire early. I'm here to say that I was neither of these. I was an apartment manager for affordable housing. I never made more than $45,000 in a single year. I live in California in a very expensive LA neighborhood. it is possible to save and be financially independent on an income below the area median. I'm looking to become active in the stock market. Mostly I've been using passive index funds. I'm looking for a mentor and researching companies. Do you have any advice where to go? Excuse me, and who to ask? I don't know if you want a start to be a little bit more active in your investing. I think you might be making a mistake. I think you've already done the hard work, which is you've saved the money. And I would stick to your passive funds. If you want to just have a little bit of, like a fun money account, then you can get tons of stuff online. Really, it's pretty easy to find that. And keep listening to us because we'll help you out as well. Okay. Let's keep going, Mark. Here's the subject line. I took my Social Security at age 62. And this is from Pat. She was offered early retirement. Oh, and you know what? I said she, and it could be a he. It's Pat. Remember that skit? It was like you don't remember It's Pat? I think that was a Saturday Night Live skit. Google that, man. Okay, Pat says, I was offered an early retirement, left my job at age 62. I began drawing Social Security, $1,200 a month. With my pension, I get total income of $24,000. Now I'm 76, and although my benefits are 20% permanently reduced, have I made up the reduction yet? No, you don't ever make up the reduction. There's no no. The longer you live, the worse the deal is. Pat, I'm sorry to say. The more important question is, are you surviving? Because you don't really have a lot of options. Okay? Okay, Marianne says, I loved your book, The Dumb Things Smart People Do With Their Money. I've recommended it to everyone who will listen, family, friends, and clients. Yay! Okay. Marianne says, I've had a myriad of financial advisors over my lifetime, none of whom I treasured. Over the past couple of years, 2 small groups have run me off when I ask basic questions. What I think my husband and I really need right now is a financial planner to help us organize our assets to position them for retirement. I'm already semi-retired. I'm making some part-time income in the Austin area after a long career. When I was in my 50s, she's getting working part-time. I'm 60 now. My husband's a few years younger. And she says, after my recent disastrous encounters with financial advisors, we both manage our own portfolios with a variety of stocks, exchange-traded funds. I'm working to get out of some mutual funds which haven't done well. I find myself with a cash account. Best use of this would be real estate investments. Okay. So the bottom line, Marianne says, is that I really would like some sort of plan going forward. And I've gotten confused about what type to use. So here's what I think. I think, Marianne, you need a fee-only financial planner. Where you can find that is NAPFA, the National Association of Personal Financial Advisors. And what you're looking for is somebody who will actually put together a financial plan for you. And you will pay them a flat fee. That's what you need right now. And so I think that's how you should approach this. Okay? Oh, look at this. Another one. Roseanne is reading the book. She's a faithful viewer of CBS This Morning and has a question about 401ks. My employer is merging with another company. Our plan will no longer exist. The new company's plan does not allow for enrollment until after a 6-month waiting period. Is there something I can do to continue to defer my $24,000? Now 25, by the way, because she's over 50. I've already contributed $12,000. I don't want to miss out on this benefit. I can't believe that they're merging and they don't let you do this. I don't know how much money you make, but maybe you should try to put $7,000 into an IRA, or either a Roth IRA, a deductible IRA, or a non-deductible IRA. And then you could at least get there pretty close. You wouldn't be there 100%, but that's about as good as you're going to do right now. What kind of merger is that you make your employees wait it out? That's bad. Okay. Question from Paige. Pros and cons of using my life insurance cash value from MetLife whole policy to get out of credit card debt. Pro. I say do it. I need more details of I'm saying that sort of half-heartedly, meaning that, yes, it's probably a good idea. However, I need to know how much is the insurance and how much cash value there is and how much credit card debt there is. What might be really useful. And also, when you go to MetLife, what you want to do is you want to find out from them, how much can I pull out of this policy before I get taxed on it? Because what you put in, you can pull out without taxes. So what I would be, yes, I like that idea, especially if you don't need any life insurance anymore. Okay? Woo! Those are two jam-packed, back-to-back email segments. It's Jill on Money. If you've got a question, ask Jill at jillonmoney.com. Go to jillonmoney.com. Click the Contact Us button, and you can get to us that way, too. Okay, we'll be right back.
Do I invest here? Should I put my money there? Jill Schlesinger can help you. Back to Jill on Money.
You're back. It's Jill on Money, and we are blowing through some old emails because I have fallen behind, and I apologize for that. If you have a question, you can reach us at AskJill at jillonmoney.com. Don't forget to hop onto the website, jillonmoney.com. You can subscribe to our podcast. Very easy. We have links to Apple, Stitcher, Radio.com, Google Play, anywhere else you find your favorite podcasts. Here is a question from Christian, who is not from the United States, 58 years old, married, 2 adult sons. He retired a year ago. Okay. And very into the idea of investing, which he says I find to be quite fascinating. Okay. 2 broad questions. I frequently come across this general rule of thumb. When allocating assets, you should subtract your age from 110. And I understand it's a guideline. It sounds to me that it can be tweaked. Does that sound right to you? I don't love that formula. I just think that what's better to do is this. You've got a portfolio. You know how much money it is. You then try to figure out what you're trying to drive in terms of income or withdrawal rate from that portfolio. And then you pile on top of that your risk tolerance and then allocate the portfolio. So yeah, is there a rule of thumb and it's a guideline? Yeah, but I think it's a lazy one and you could do better. And he says where he lives, the bond market is active, the stock market is small and sleepy. And he says, what should I substitute on the stock side of the equation? What do you mean? What about using U.S. stocks? Could we do that? Can you invest in U.S. stocks from in your account? Here's another question about a 401k. I have $950,000. Is this $950,000 in a 401k? Should I cash it out, or is it $950? Anyway, no, Juan, don't. What you should do is you should roll it over into a new plan or roll it over into an IRA rollover account. Okay? Stephen writes, I'm retired. I'm living off income from Social Security and my IRA. My IRA allocation, 70% stocks, 30% bonds. And my question, are bond ETFs and mutual funds good alternatives for fixed income investments compared to, say, corporate or municipal bonds? I've read that not having a maturity date is critical drawback to mutual funds, at least with corporates and munis. At least with corporate and munis, if you hold to maturity, you get your investment back, assuming no defaults. Can you enlighten me a little? Well, okay, here's the problem. Number one is you would only use municipal bonds in non-retirement accounts. So forget about that for your IRA. Inside of your IRA, it really depends how much money you have because it's expensive to buy individual bonds. And you're right, individual bonds absolutely in the corporate level would give you your principal back, presuming no defaults, but they can be expensive to buy. The one thing is, though, like if you have, I know people go nutty about this, but like if you have a bond mutual fund, and you reinvest the money that comes out of it, you can reinvest when shares are lower. So I think you're probably fine unless you have a ton of money, and you are able to buy individual bonds. Here's another one. Paul says, I'm thinking about closing out my 401k plan I've had for 3 years. I got $2,400 in. I want to know how much it would cost to pull out. You're 56. Paul, why are people writing about this? How are we getting these questions? Are they not listening? All right. When you pull $2,400 out, you're under the age of 59 and a half, you would pay taxes and a 10% penalty. So no, do not pull this out. You need to roll it over to either a new 401k plan, or you can roll it over into an existing 401k plan. Okay? Joe writes, everyone talks about the importance of saving for retirement. I also know that investment firms have an inherent interest in getting us to save. Rarely do I hear of the argument of the risk of saving too much. Surely there's a risk in that regard as well. I don't see what's the downside of saving too much? What is it? I mean, I guess in your retirement account, if there's too much money, it can screw up your Social Security taxation. It can pop you into higher tax. Having more money to me is never a real risk. Mark says that is a problem I will take. Let's see. Camellia has been offered a position in the private sector and will be leaving the federal government. What should I do with my thrift savings plan? Can I leave it where it is? You probably can leave it where it is, and I probably would because it's a cheap and effective plan. Otherwise, you can roll it over into an IRA rollover account pretty much anywhere. I would just leave it, though. Usually you can leave it. Okay? It's pretty easy to do. Okay, DJ. I'm 60 years old. I got hurt on the job, and I got a settlement and invested with an investment company recommended by my lawyer because I knew zero when it came to investing. I invested, you ready for this? $1 million. And I don't know if I'm making the right amount of money. I should be. I could use a second pair of eyes on my money. The money is precious. I have to depend on it. I listen faithfully to you on the radio. Can you point me in the right direction? Mark, why don't you tell DJ to send us the screenshot of the account and we can take a look at it? You got that? DJ. See, I have to make sure he's paying attention because I'm going fast right now. I don't see you taking notes or anything. You in your head? Okay. Kevin is 57, married. Wife is 54. 2 kids, ages 22 and 18. Joint income, $135,000. No mortgage or credit card debt. Woohoo! 2 leased vehicles. I work for the Postal Service. I got $400,000 in my thrift savings plan, and I'm going to retire at age 62. Mutual funds with $60,000 in them. My dad passed away, and his house is sold. His estate is now complete. He left the money to me and my sister. Everything split evenly. I put the money in my savings account. It's just sitting there making nothing. I have $210,000. I'd like to move some of that money out of the savings into something that will help me earn money. I don't want it to be high risk. It would break my heart if I lost the money that my dad had intended for me. We were so close. Thank you. I love your show. You know what? This is kind of an easy one. So I think that you're just going to, for the time being, go to depositaccounts.com and buy some longer-term CDs. Just buy some 2, 3, 5, 6, 7-year CDs. If you don't want to lose money, that's what you can do. You can also get a high-yield money market account. If you want to dip your toe in the water in investments, just a small percentage, maybe 20%. Kevin, if you've got more questions about this, follow up with us, okay? Go to the website, JillOnMoney.com, and you can check out all of our great resources. We'll be right back.
Do I invest here? Should I put my money there? Jill Schlesinger can help you. Back to Jill on Money.
You're back. It's Jill on Money. If you've got a financial question, it may be right there for you on our website, JillOnMoney.com. Let us know if you have something that we should add to our resource section. Mark, how's our glossary going? He's got to rest. I know. We're going to give him a break here. Okay. Hey, Laura writes the nicest note. Subject, your new book. It's not that new, but it is. I released it in February, so I think that it's kind of like a marriage. You got a year to send a gift. I have a year to talk about my book. You know what? I'm totally going to talk about it forever because I hated the whole process so much. So Laura writes, I enjoy listening to you on CBS this morning. And I just got done reading your book, and I enjoyed your advice. I hope you write another one sometime soon. I need a break. Anyway, Laura writes, you have a fan in me. Laura from the middle of America in Missouri. Thank you, Laura. That is so nice. If you want to buy the book, you can go to the website, jillonmoney.com. Click on the book link, and you will find it. Crystal writes, a while ago I saw you on a CBS segment, and you were talking about how much you can earn after full retirement age working at another job and still collecting Social Security. I think you might have misheard me, but maybe I made a mistake. But basically, we want to get a little bit more information about this. So here's the information you need. The question is, can you work and collect Social Security? And the answer is yes. However, if you haven't reached your full retirement age, you have something to deal with called the Social Security earnings test. And that triggers the Social Security Administration to withhold some of your monthly payment. So here is the essential piece of information. First, you say, okay, what is your Social Security full retirement age? You can do that by just going to Social Security, SSA.gov, and you can figure it out, okay? Now, it's like 65, 67. It's usually 66 or 67 for you, okay? Unless you were whatever. So you'd have to be pretty old for it to be. Okay. So, next. If you, there's a test that's basically how much money that you earn during the year you turn and then after you turn that. So for 2019, the Social Security earnings test doesn't kick in unless you earn more than $46,920. That's where you start to kick in. So if you're already at full retirement age, there is no earnings test. If you're reaching full retirement age this year in 2019, you can earn $46,920 a year. But then there's this other part, which is if you're not at full retirement age and you're working, so you haven't reached that full retirement age here in 2019. Okay? Now that test limit kicks in at a much lower number. So if you claim, say, at age 62, you can only earn $17,640 a year. So that's not good. All right? Not good at all. So this is one of the main reasons that we are very persnickety at saying that if you can wait until full retirement age, that is like the trigger for many things in your life. All right? Keep that in mind. Okay, let's see what we got here. Wow, this is long. Kelly and Adam, they said they want to thank me and Mark for sharing knowledge. Oh, that's nice. Okay, they're in their 30s. She's self-employed, makes about 40 grand. He has a new job. He is making about 80 grand. No credit card, no student loan. They do have a truck loan, should be paid off in 3 years. 8 months in the bank for emergency reserve. They're renting right now. They're saving to purchase a new home. They're not in any hurry. We only have 10% saved for a down payment. We're trying to get to 20%. Our total amount in savings, 40 grand. We're hoping to purchase a home that, meets us. It doesn't sound like they're really like trying to kill it in terms of get some huge home. They got retirement accounts, 14 grand in her traditional IRA. Now she's moving to a Roth. He's got 13 grand in a 401k, which is now rolled over. And he's got another $43,000 in an IRA account. New job offers a pension and a 401k. Question, Does he max out his 401k in 2019, even though the employer isn't going to match his contribution, and max out his IRA contribution? Is one better than the other? What shall we do, Mark? I think it depends on the 401k. That's really, so I want to know, what is the plan? If it's like a very cheap plan, like a Vanguard funds, or maybe it's a T. Rowe Price or something, and there's cheap funds, then absolutely use the 401k. But you do mention that you have his traditional IRA is with a brokerage house, and I want to know how much they're charging you. It might be cheaper for him to use the 401k. But ideally, he would have some money in 401k, but some money in Roth. So maybe you split the difference. It kind of depends. You guys are, frankly, you're below the phase-out limit for a Roth. So I kind of would do both, but it really does depend. How much is the cost of the 401k investments? How much you getting charged by the broker? Follow up with me on that, and I can guide you in a much more efficient way. Okay, it's Jill on Money. If you've got a financial question, give us a holler. Ask Jill at JillOnMoney.com. We'll be right back. You're back. It's Jill on Money. And we are broadcasting live from the Policy Genius studios. Policy Genius is the easy way to compare and buy insurance. Just go to policygenius.com. Very easy to do. Before we close out the program, I should read, this is a very interesting question from Dawn. Last fall, 2018, President Trump issued an executive order directing the Treasury Department to review required minimum distribution rules and consider changes that would allow retirees to keep more money in retirement accounts for a longer period of time. Basically, a change to the mortality mortality tables. Because don't forget, guys, the whole reason why the RMD is created is so Uncle Sam can actually be able to collect money, and they want to do that before you die. So they force you to take money out. So here's the issue. I have not heard more about this. Yes, this happened back in, I think it was September. Those life expectancy tables, they're 15 years old. But the problem is, this is not going to actually help you all that much, just so you know. But they're very complicated rules, and not the least of which is what a pain in the neck. It's simply, 70 and a half just there. So the answer is, this was a review. It was it was open-ended. I don't think there's really any, I don't know if there's going to be any real movement on this. Anyway, it may or may not impact you all that much. I just don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. And that's too bad. So I wouldn't count on it, but that's the status. It is in the works. It is supposedly happening, but I can't promise you that you're going to get movement. We don't get movement these days too much. But you can get movement. You can get moving. Go on over to JillOnMoney.com. And there, if you like this radio show, you can subscribe to our sister podcast. It's called Jill on Money. You can get it on Apple, Stitcher, radio.com, Google Play, or just go to our website, JillOnMoney.com. Click on the listen button. There's all sorts of ways to get us right there. Okay. Thank you for listening. Thank you. Send us your questions. We'd love to hear from you. Have a great week. We'll talk to you next weekend.